Hi guys, welcome back to the Big Sew Along. I'm Ginny and this is filming this on Wednesday. Sorry, let me get situated here. Okay, now Wednesday, January 13th. So this is our second video of 2021. I wanted to thank all you guys for all your input on the video last week. I really appreciate it. Before I go any further, I have to tell you guys, I think I forgot last week. For Christmas, my husband gave me a new camera, and I've been using it. I used it for last week's video, and I'm using it for this week's video, but I'm not quite used to it yet, so I just apologize in advance for any funkiness in my tutorial. I spend a lot of time checking to make sure my camera is recording, so I think I seem a little distracted. We have a pretty simple tutorial today, so it shouldn't be too much trouble. Thanks to all of your suggestions. I tried a new pattern from a designer called Opal Annie. She's on Etsy. She is a Texan, and let's see. Her actual shop name is Opal Annie 71, and I will link that below for you guys. We are going to do Opal Annie patterns all month long. This is my first foray into Opal Annie's patterns, but I like the designs a lot. She definitely has a very shabby chic boho kind of look to them, definitely a Lagan look kind of thing. We are going to do, today we're doing the Dandelion top and tunic, and then next week we're going to do the Sachi pants. And then the last week of the month, we're going to do the Dottie dress, which I believe is a newer pattern for her. So, let me tell you a little bit about the Dandelion tunic. Just so you guys know, if you're interested in sewing along with me this month, it looks like she has all of her patterns on sale on Etsy right now. So, now would be a good time to pick them up. According to her little printout, her little info section here on her Etsy listing, these patterns are PDFs. Obviously, they are printable on both US letter and A4. For those of you who really hate PDF patterns, let me just tell you that there are not a lot of pages in any of the three patterns we're making. Not a lot of pages to print or tape together. It actually went together really quickly and really easily. They're very clear and easy to put together, and minimal number of pages. So just so you know, don't be afraid of them. They're actually not a lot of putting together there. The sizes are standard women's sizing and plus sizing up to a 54-inch bust and a 64-inch hip. I didn't check to see what the small size is, but they're generous. So, I mean, if you're particularly petite and you don't want them to be, like, oversized, you might have to size them down. Otherwise, I used a size B. Her patterns are, like, A, B, C, D, I think it was. I know I used a size B in both the Sachi pants and in the Dandelion dress. And they both fit me just fine. I could have gone to, like, I could have done the A if I wanted to, but I actually really like the sizing on the B. I prefer my things to be a little bit bigger. I could have even gone to a C and had them be like super roomy, which also would have been fine. The B is spot on for me. The seam allowances on these, you guys, are 3/8 of an inch. It says here, easy to follow written instructions, detailed line drawings, and a style sheet with full color photos. She has a ton of information in this pattern. The instructions are really clear and really easy to follow. I had no problems with that at all. And I think that's all we're going to say right now. We're going to go and do our tutorial on how to put this together. This tunic is cut like a lot of Tina Gibbons patterns. So the shoulders and the center front, center back are all on the fold. So you have one long piece of fabric that you fold this way, and then you fold it this way. You'll see in the tutorial here. So there's one main body pattern piece, and then you have two side panels that go from the underarm, or from the bottom of the sleeve all the way down. You have cuffs for each sleeve, a binding, a wide band that goes around the bottom, and then a bias binding for the neck. So honestly, not a ton of pattern pieces, not a really complicated make. Here we go. Okay, so for the dandelion, we need to place our pattern piece like this. We have a fold here at this end and a fold here on this side. So our fabric is folded in half this way and then in half this way. And now we're going to cut this out. We're going to open this up like this. And I am going to cut mine with, I'm going to mark mine with little chalk paper. So I'm just going to lay this down here, mask that up to my fold on both sides, and then I'm going to lay this right back down on top. I can see here that this edge is matching my cut edge down there. And we are just going to trace this right here on our designated line. Now, you can just go in and cut that front edge off. And while we're here, I am just going to go ahead and put a tiny little notch at the front and also at the center back. That's our main pattern piece. Now the next thing we need is we need two side strips. We need them to be 5 inches wide by this length. You need to measure from here at the bottom of your sleeve all the way around here to the bottom of your hem, and that's the length that you want your strips to be. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is sew our side panels in. We're going to open our dress out like this, right sides together. This is the back of my dress. This is the front. And we're just going to start on one side, and we're going to sew our panel, we're going to pin our panel right sides together to this edge. All along the edge. See on mine, I'm going to have extra here at the bottom. You just cut that off. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pin my other side as well. So I pinned that to the front. Now I'm going to pin this edge to the back. actually just going to cut this excess off right here. We can even that up later. Okay, so now all we're going to do is go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew each of these, both of these seams, with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to finish our seams any way you like. You can serge them, you can bind them if you want, you can zigzag them, you can pink them if you want. Whatever you do, go ahead and finish the seams and press them to one side. So they're either going towards the dress or towards the side panel. It doesn't matter which, just pick one. If you want, you can then top stitch those seam allowances down, or you don't have to. That's totally up to you. In any case, you're going to do that on this side, and then you're going to do the exact same thing with the side panel on this side. So you're going to attach it to one side, either to the front or the back, and then you're going to attach it to the other side. And sew that down also with a 3/8 inch seam allowance and finish your seams. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is our cuffs. We should have two pieces that look like this. We're going to just fold them in half this way, line up those raw edges right here, and sew that together with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to fold it in half this way, like that, and press it. Raw edges together, and our seam is enclosed there. Now we're going to, I'm going to fold that right on that seam so I can find the opposite end. Now that's exactly directly across from our seam. We're going to place 3 pleats in here, so they're each half an inch wide. I'm going to just mark them with a pin. So there's that one, and I mark that like that. And then we want one on 2 inches each direction of that. So let's say that's right there, 2 inches is right here. I'm going to fold my fabric like that, and we're going to pin another ½ inch pleat in there. And then I'm going to go on the other side of our center pleat, and 2 inches on this side is right there. We're going to fold that there. And ½ inch is right about there. Okay, now we're going to go to the sewing machine and baste those in, and I think you're just going to have to choose which way you want your pleats to lay. I think I'll go this direction. I'm going to, yeah, I'm just going to go to the sewing machine and baste those in. I'm going to press those down at that end and then just baste across there so that they lay flat. Okay, so here we have our sleeves, and you can see I pressed my pleats in opposite directions so that they're going, like, so they're mirrored once you have them on. I don't know how much that matters, but this is nice. Okay, so now we're just going to pin these to the outside of our cuff. We're going to put them right sides together. And I'm going to line up the seam of my cuff with roughly the center of my, the band on my sleeve. So like that. Okay, just like that. Now we're just going to sew that on with our 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then we're going to finish that edge however you want. Once you have that finished, you're going to fold it up and press it towards the inside, and then if you want, you can top stitch this down, or you don't have to. It's totally up to you. Then we're going to do the exact same thing to our other sleeve. Okay, and that's our cuffs done. You can see there, I did top stitch mine. I think those look really cute, but you can see, like, I have both my pleats on both sides pressed towards, so they're facing towards the front. You could do it the other way around too, but you probably want them to mirror each other so they don't look weird. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole hem process because that is exactly the same as we did with the cuffs, except that if you cut your pattern according to directions, they tell you to cut 2 strips that are, I think they said 5 or 6 inches wide by the length of your fabric, which is probably going to be 45 inches wide. So just be aware that you're going to have a lot of extra fabric here. Like you can see, these are my 2 strips together. And I'm going to, if I place this along the bottom, I can see that I have all of this excess. So just be aware that that's excess. You're just going to cut off the excess and make sure that you have enough seam allowance for both sides, and then sew those 2 panels together so you have 1 tube. Then you're just going to apply it to the hem of your dress the exact same way we did the cuffs, only obviously without the pleats. Okay, so the last step in our dandelion dress is just to attach the binding to the neckline. Some of you guys may have seen me do this before in previous videos, so this is the last step. If you're not interested, you can just fast forward through this. But for those of you who haven't seen it, I will show you how I do this. I am attaching my bias binding to the inside. It's a center back. I'm leaving a little flap here. And I'm just going to pin it around. Okay, now that we're back to the center back, that's my center back pin. This one is going to meet up with it right here. I'm going to put a pin there as well. Now I'm just going to clip this off a 1/2 inch away from my pins, like that. Now just unpin this edge right here, sew those 2 together with your 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch, whatever you used, seam allowance, and then lay it back down inside your tunic, and then we're just going to stitch all the way around the edge. Once we have our bias tape on here, we're just going to trim it down so that it's not too wide, and then because this is all the way around a curve, I think even if you trim it down really low, it's better if you can just put clips around the curvier parts, just like that. Just little snips all the way around. You'll just get a crisper line that way. So once you've trimmed this off and clipped your curves, then we're just going to fold this over and press it down, and then we're going to press it to the right side of our garment, just like that. I hope you can see that. And stitch it all the way down. Just edge stitch it really close to that edge there. And that's the end of the dandelion. Okay, like I said, again, sorry if I seem distracted or like confused. I'm really like focused on my camera and that whole thing, so I'm sorry. I'm getting used to it, and hopefully I'll have it down before too long. Okay, what else do I have to say about this? The fabrics that I used, excuse me. I'm going to show you a picture here of the first one I made. The fabrics I use for this are from Diamond Textiles. They have a real sort of rustic kind of, but luxurious, if that makes sense. Like a very fine rustic quality to them. I don't really know how else to describe it. They are presumably made for quilting particularly. I buy mine at the Rusty Crow Quilt Shop, which is in California. That was a mouthful. I will link them down below too. They sometimes have slight discounts on some of their fabrics. They're the only place that I could find Diamond Textiles in the US. I'm sure other people have it. I just couldn't find it anywhere when I first started ordering Diamond Textiles, although I do know that I've seen it someplace else more recently, and maybe Style Maker or something. I can't remember. The first time I came across Diamond Textiles was in the Tina Gibbons Seychelles magazine, and I can't remember which one, but she did a little article about the designer of Diamond Textiles. So I looked them up way back then, and I found them at this Rusty Crow quilt shop in I believe she's in California. I don't know if I said that. Whoever it is that runs that shop is like on top of it, because their shipping is crazy fast. At least it has been for me. Tina Gibbons has also used Diamond Textiles in some of her garments. So in some of her photos on the Tina Gibbons website, you can see some of those garments are made in diamond textiles. Anyways, so the one I had today, those were like leftover scraps of some fabrics that I had. Not so sure that I love those fabrics altogether, but it doesn't really matter. I did order some new fabrics from Diamond Textiles. They have really good coordinating patterns and stuff like that that I really love together. So I'll be using those for the next two sew-alongs we do for next week and the following week. But the second one of these I made, which is, I'll put another picture up here. I made this in a double gauze from my stash, and it's just been in my stash forever. I have no idea where I got this. I'm clueless. I usually can remember, but I can't. So just so you can see some of your options, she tells you in this pattern how to make the cuffs, the band, and the bodice of the dress the way we did it today in our tutorial. But you can see there are a ton of places for playing around here. The second one that I just showed you, that one I obviously replaced the bottom band with a ruffle, and I put regular ruffles instead of her banded ruffle on the cuffs. I still just did a bias binding on that one. I've seen a couple of her others. You should check on Instagram and just check the hashtag Opal Annie, and you should see a few other versions of hers. I've seen people put like a little bias trim or some sort of trim between the body and the cuff, and between the body and the bottom hem. I thought that looked really cool. I also feel like this would be really good, this one in particular, the Dandelion, it would be really good. I think I might just make it in solid white linen, you guys, because I think it's just like, that would be a really good basic top just to throw on with everything all the time, right? Thought so. And what else do I have to say about this? It went together pretty quickly and pretty easily. I had a lot of fun making this. This was just one of those patterns that was really fun to put together. I have made the Sachi pants once before, and I also thought that those were really fun. Although I wasn't crazy about the ones that I made, but that was just because I was using like junk fabric that I had around the house. But I love the pants. I thought that they were really cool. So we're going to work on those for next week. I hope that I remembered to say everything this time. Let's use some hashtags, you guys, if you don't mind. If you do post on Instagram, will you please, 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 you hashtag me. Use the hashtag #TheBigSewAlong for anything, so I can see whatever you're working on. I would love that. Just so I know who's out there. You can kind of connect that way. The other thing is, if you're sewing along with this, and I really hope you are, because I feel like these patterns are just super fun. And it's a good way to use up scraps. It's a good way to use up small pieces. It's a really good way to use up some old garments if you like upcycling. Yeah, I highly encourage you giving this a go, because this was a fun make. So for the month of January, our big sew along tag is going to be TBSA for the big sew along, Opal Annie. So TBSA Opal Annie. Of course, if you're making something from Opal Annie, you should probably hashtag Opal Annie as well, so she can find you. I don't know her, by the way. And also, I forgot to say this, I don't know anybody at Rusty Crow Quilt Shop or at Diamond Textiles. That's just me. So there you go. Okay, I think that's it, you guys. I'm really excited about this one. I hope you guys make some, and I hope you post them on Instagram and hashtag us so we can all find each other. And I hope you guys all come back again next week when we will make the Sachi pants. Okay, bye guys.